Welcome everybody to episode 303, the past, the KO, the ruler of the Dumb Marks podcast, the best wrestling podcast in the business. Everybody else is just a reaction show, and we state the facts. Host today, Donald, and it looks like Steve is on a phone call right now. Jason will be on later, and Chris, of course, is on sabbatical right now. So the week has been crazy for me, especially. Let's get into that. Watch wrestling, watch SummerSlam and all that stuff. What else did we do? Wrestling in general this week was okay. You can see where it starts getting into like different storylines and stuff like that. So we will go over everything.
Yeah, there.
Steve, how's it going?
Apologies. That was a phone call that I had to answer, just given everything that's gone on with the week. So well, DJ, we appreciate the aura. I mean, it's there. It's been there. It's been there the entire time, bro. Like, it's here. We're ready.
Yes, we
Well,
are.
but I mean, that's a little TMI with didn't take your morning piss yet. So please go handle that. But no, we're here. We're back at it. Coming off of SummerSlam. I don't know what is going on with the background right now. I can't get the settings right because it's just messing with the. Yeah, I don't know. So I apologize for the ins and outs here in that regards. But yeah, coming off of SummerSlam, I actually really enjoyed this week in wrestling. So I heard you initially say, Donald, that it was just kind of meh. I got a lot of different takes on what happened this week across the board and all. Well, the three big promotions that are on during the week, right? As far as TV contract wise, with AEW, WWE, and TNA. So I'll be interested to see where your takes are and what goes through your mind with some of these things that may pop up and be discussed here. But overall, I was very satisfied with the week that was in pro wrestling. But there are some obvious things to bring up and discuss that weren't so great in that regards, right?
Yeah, for sure. So the show is going to consist of course, our intro topic, and then we have our Mount Rushmores and Mushes, and then we got a game, the WWE PLE calendar. So we will get into that.
Yeah, truth be told, it's going to be off the fly for me. I know you sent it over as homework, but I have been dealing with some things the last 48 hours that I have not been able to necessarily
fully get into,
right? So T's and P's to my niece going through some stuff right now. So I had to answer the call there, but yeah, we'll get into it. I do have some thoughts. It's just not going to be as laid out as I'm sure yours and Jason's will be. There'll be some things that I'll want to regrettably go back in and redesign afterwards. But I think I have my 6-pack, so to speak.
Yes.
With that, so
it'll be fun. Something I thought of on the fly and all that stuff too was like, hey, we never did this before. Let's give this a try out.
No, when you sent it over, I was like, oh, bet, okay, this is something that I can get into and book. And I didn't even cheat and use the help of AI by plugging in like the stuff, right? So again, I didn't have time to fully lay it out and vent it out the way I wanted to, but I will definitely run through and kind of throw out my 6 out there. 6 or 7, pause, 6, 7. My daughter's gonna be happy I use 6, 7 properly. So yeah, no, we'll get into it for sure.
Jason, welcome. How are you doing this week?
I'm all right. I was on dog duty, so I gotta walk other people's dogs. So yeah. You walk in the house, smell like other people's dogs, you become the ultimate villain for the day.
I don't think
Distrust.
there may not be anything worse than walking into a house that just smells of dog. Like you get nose deaf to it because you know what I mean. But there's some days, even with my own, I walk in the house and I'm like, all right, we're opening windows. I'm washing everything. I'm spraying down the crate. I'm turning on the air purifiers. I'm Febrezing everything. Like, we got to get this out of here because even my two little Bichon Shih Tzus that I have, they smell worse than having like a pit bull or a Rottweiler at time. Like, you little stinky bastards.
Yeah. All right, so let's hop into this intro topic. So I seen people talking about this online. It wasn't for that much, probably more on Tuesday, and then that was the end of it. But I found it to be interesting. So Big Cass came back, of course, on Monday, and a lot of people. I didn't watch Raw that day, and I picked it up on Tuesday, and they said that Corey was no selling Big Cass's beatdown of Javon. He wasn't saying anything. Cole was doing all the work and all that, and then Corey spoke, towards the end whenever Big Cass was going up the ramp. So, real quick, for 2 minutes and 2 seconds, he said nothing during the whole beatdown. Once Cass walked up the ramp, he finally chimes in and says, if you want to make an impact going after one of the most popular stars, this is certainly a good place. People are saying Cole was providing everything on both sides and doing Graves' job. So my question to you guys is, did Corey sacrifice professional obligation for personal feelings over Cass? Because, Cass and Corey's wife, Carmella, dated. So there might be something in between that.
Well, I mean, if you don't, I mean, and again, this is where people are completely different in their lives and what's happened and how people can change. And this is not a way to um, neglect or take away from the situation that happened between Kaz and Carmella and what Kaz did. I don't see why this was a thing to get on and discuss and debate about. Like, Carmella posted afterwards next day, just saying how professional her husband is and thanking him, and he handled himself really well, and you know, um, will it impact going forward how Kaz is presented, and if it's going to be Grays and Cole on the call on Monday night? Well, at some point in time, Corey's going to have to chime in, right? But I thought for the debut and what it was and who it was and all parties involved, like, to me, this is a non-talking point.
Okay.
I agree. For me, if I can't hear you, good. So I didn't even notice. So, and the crowd knows sold it anyway. So why are we worried about Corey?
Well, I mean, it's not even. Real life happens, and we've seen, real life in wrestling, but yeah, but he wasn't with Carmella when they were first on the roster, and so I mean, like, real life happens. We've seen wrestling storylines develop from real life, and people put the business over personal reasons to work and make money. I'm not saying that they have to completely squash beef and shake hands. And who knows if Kaz went up to Corey in the back? Who knows if Corey would even be receptive of that type of approach? But like I said, everybody is in different spaces now. Carmella and Graves have been happily married for a long time. They have 2 kids of their own, plus I think the 3 or 4 Corey had from his previous marriage. Kaz is married and has been sober for how long now, and is in completely different space and time in his life. So, like, if they have a conversation and they're able to air things out, and cool. If they don't, that Corey doesn't have to have that conversation. He doesn't have to be open to it. Like, You come out, do your thing, I'll do my thing, and we don't have to interact or exchange pleasantries when we see each other in the back. Like, it's not that type of situation. I don't think either man is going to be stupid enough to jeopardize something by popping off in the back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for that, I'll play the other side. For his professional, Corey normally, whenever like returns happen, he's all for it. He's all in it and everything, and he didn't say anything. So would this make anytime Kaz is going to have a match, do they have to tag Corey out?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how this is going to be handled going forward, but obviously, for Corey to lay out for almost 2.5 minutes without saying anything, I'm sure that was discussed and talked about before they went on air on the show. Like, I don't think Corey just went into business for himself and completely shut down his mic for 2.5 minutes when Triple H and whoever else is going to be in the back in his ear. So I'm sure they had it, quote unquote, approved. It was,
he's coming out.
This is the best way to handle the situation for now. We will figure out what to do going forward. But if Corey didn't want to get involved and just kind of wanted to lay out and let Cole take the space, so that way maybe he doesn't let personal feelings get in the way of professional business, because who knows, it is a live mic. You can say what
Sometimes,
you say, and you can bury the guy before you realize that you actually buried the guy. But okay, I don't feel this is a situation where Corey went rogue and was completely unprofessional and just threw in the towel on his job and his duties for 2.5 minutes live on Monday night. It's a non-talking point for me. And again, they're all adults. They're all professionals. They don't have to interact and speak and be best friends with each other. It was a very bad situation that transpired. But again, people have been in different places, and this is not to absolve Kaz of what happened. But he's not the same individual that he was all those years ago when that situation took place. Some people will just never forgive and forget. Some people, once you do something like that, you're marked, you're labeled, and there's nothing that you can do. No amount of penance, no amount of contrition, redemption, all the things that you want to put into describing that individual's change and growth. Nothing will change people's mind, and you will continuously be who you are in that moment in time when it happens. So again, I'm not saying that I completely forgive Kaz, or like, that's not the stance I'm taking. I'm just saying, like, people do change and people can change, and we have seen it done across the board in various other professional arenas where this situation happens. You just have to make the best do with the situation and figure out how to navigate it to where it works for you and everybody that's involved. Obviously, I'm sure that they spoke to Corey, not that they, based their hiring decisions on Corey's words, but I'm sure they would have went to him and said, "Hey, we're bringing him back and he's coming to Raw. Are you going to be okay? Yeah. Or are you going to be able to do your job?" Like, I'm sure those conversations.
Sure he said that. Yeah.
Is Mr. Unreal getting worked?
Me?
Mr. Unreal getting worked?
Hey, I'm just saying what everybody else is saying. I'm just saying that's what other people say. It's like, hey. I mean, if it's big enough to come up on my algorithm, which my algorithm ain't wrestling at all anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're doing all that, DJ. Like, I don't think this is that situation where we're gonna blend the real life and the storyline.
Corey come back.
And I don't think Corey did get cleared to return to the ring. I don't know if he'll ever have a match, but I don't think they would use this to be the moment to bring him back to have that match. That would just be so tone deaf on multiple levels, even for WWE's tone deafness. For lack of better words, right? Even for WWE's lack of reading the room at times for situations. But we'll see. I mean, is it something that I'm going to monitor and keep an eye for and look out to see how does Corey react when Kaz is on screen and does things? No, I'm not. But I'm sure people will, which is why it popped up in the timeline this week as a discussion point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just want to hear y'all thoughts about it. All right. So that was the intro topic. Let's head into these Mount Rushmores. My Mount Rushmore and Mush are basically the same thing, so I'll go last on the Rushmore. So, Jason, Mount Rushmore this week.
Mount Rushmore. I'm totally forgot. You had me so I'm thinking about this game. Go around the hole, man.
All right. I had a lot of options for Mount Rushmore. Chelsea Green obviously could be Mount Rushmore. Can we remove the interim title since Rhea's officially out? She had surgery. She posted stuff this week. Like, there's no reason to have it be interim when Rhea's going to be out for, who knows? Maybe, hopefully, back by Royal Rumble is what I saw. So I don't think we need to keep the interim label on Chelsea, right? So Chelsea was up there. KO coming back. The pop I had on Sunday when that music hit, when all this added Gunther, I'm like, all right, what the hell are we doing right now? Like, and then he said we need a fourth, and as soon as he looked up at the screen, I was like, oh, there's no way his music's gonna hit, because it was rumored him and Orton were to be back at some point in time, as soon as this week, right? You knew he was there. You saw stuff with him, trolling Dominic during Dominic's autograph line, so you knew KO was there. But even with all those reports and rumors and innuendos, I was still shocked to hear the music hit. And when the music hit, it just was like something that made me feel whole again. I'm like, to have him back after 18 months and 17 months, 18 months, and the moment Pop was huge. Obviously, he fits right in that regards to a slot. So that could have been my Mount Rushmore as well. Solo Sikoa, again, could be Mount Rushmore for everything that he's doing. I absolutely love Mustafa Ali and Jason Hotch and everything they're doing in TNA with that storyline and what's going on there. And again, if you do not make Ali a main event player and put the title on him, TNA needs to fire every single buddy that's in that company on a creative output, because he is that good right now from a match sequence wise. But the backstage stuff that he did with Jason's wife and kid this week, and their personal, taking a work personal angle and turning it into a shoot, so to speak, right, was tremendously done. I thought the vibes in AEW were great, being in Arena Mexico. The crowd was unreal. Not ecstatic about just having almost 3-hour Dynamite that was just matches for matches' sake and not really getting any stories out of it. Nothing advanced towards All In. But my true Mount Rushmore with all those good things that went on this week, again, multiple promotions, was Lola Vice and Kendall Gray in NXT. The underground match, for being a gimmick match and those being difficult at times, Lola has the pattern for those matches down. Her and Kalani was a really good underground match. Mm-hmm. But this one between them two was absolutely amazing. And, don't know if the busted ear was a real, like, she was really that hurt or she played it up that way. But wrapping her head up,
yep.
Like,
no,
I mean,
bro, that baited.
That was my bush. That was how my mush was, just adding the head wrap. Now you're getting hokey. Now you're getting hokey. If it's enough to get wrapped up, send her backstage. Send her out medical.
No,
if it's enough to get wrapped up, don't come with this hokey ass head wrap.
That baited.
No,
that made it for me.
But that's legitimate what you do in other sports. We've seen it done.
Let her bleed.
He's like, give me the cut, Mick.
Let her bleed. Wipe it up. Do something. No, don't add that. No. Mid-match care. Get it out of here. You could have sold it like everything. Selling it like the equilibrium out of balance and all that stuff. Selling all that was great. That head wrap just took me out.
But that's the thing. I don't know if she was actually selling it or she was legit like that, because I know I've been there, but like when you get your ears wrong, like you really cannot stand up. It's hard to get balance. You know what I mean? Like you are thrown off. And listen, for her to be at the age that she's at, only being in the business for the short time that she's been in the business, to have the performances that she puts on in the ring bell to bell, and now the believability that she's starting to build with a character and this adding on to it, you know, it just makes her star shine even brighter than what it already was in a division that we arguably say is the best in the business for what they do, and them carrying a program and carrying a show each and every single week. Those two went out there and balled out. They had their moment. Lola took the pin. She'll be on SmackDown going forward. They've already filed the trademark for Vice City. So, hey, guess what? Get ready for a legal battle, because
you ain't ready for that.
Grand Theft Auto and TKO. Get ready for that to come into play, because I'm sure that will be out there, right? So I thought those two absolutely, for me, that was my match of the week. Given all the moments, matches, everything that I really loved this week, those two ladies showed up, shined, and stood out the most to me. So that's my Mount Rushmore.
My Mount Rushmore, my 1B, I made my family watch SummerSlam because we were over there eating. So I was like, hey, y'all called me away from my time. We're watching SummerSlam. And I got to give it to Danhausen and the Mini-Hausens. This is my 1B. My family talked shit the whole show. They enjoyed that Mini-Hausen, Danhausen stuff. They ate it up.
So
the casual fans.
Did you see? Yeah, I mean, people go, why do you do this in pro wrestling? That's the exact reason why. Because it gets the casual fan to actually watch, and they're entertained by it, and they want to stick around and watch more, right? Did you see who one of the Mini-Hausens was?
Was it El Torito or?
Well, no, a legitimate wrestler, right? Yeah, but no, we had a very famous mini celebrity, was an actual Mini-Hausen, and he released the footage of all the things that he got to do. He put it out there himself with Sam Roberts, and they put him in it. Nobody knew he was there until it released this week. Was
it the comedian?
Brad Williams.
I seen him ask me on the B one. I didn't know he was.
Yep. They gave him. He said, I don't need any. Just put me in the full makeup and everything. He was there all week. He was handing out ice cream as a Mini-Hausen. He was doing bumps at FanFest, jumping off the top rope into the mats as a Mini-Hausen. He had the time of his life as a Mini-Hausen, and that's what the entertainment and sports entertainment is all about right there. People didn't bitch about it because they didn't know, and yet we had a celebrity who's a famous comedian come out and be involved in something that was entertaining for children and casual fans. You diehards that rate every single match, it's not going to be for you. It's not supposed to be for you. So I don't care that it got a 1.5 star rating, because it's not the point of the match. And you could say, why would you put them on and take away, Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov? Well, because they're a sports entertainment company. It's what they do. They've been doing it since the 80s, since the first WrestleMania, with every single celebrity known to man on earth.
And your other debate was whether JD was an actual little person or not. They're like, why is his head so damn big? Y'all don't even watch wrestling. Y'all wouldn't even get what I would tell you about what goes on about his head. But
I mean, as Danhausen says, the guy with the head, right? Doesn't even call him JD. So yeah, I mean, look, Does it put credence into Dominic Mysterio being frustrated with his creative in WWE right now, given how he's presented in AAA and just the drastic differences
day.
as the Mega champion? Absolutely, he should be frustrated. I thought Monday night was a step in the right direction for him to getting him back on track, and what they did, it was a more serious version. We got away, so to speak. So, yeah, but I was entertained. I didn't go in expecting a 5-star spectacle. It was silly. It was tropey. Chris was like, "Oh, money's on a pool. Are you serious? Like, what is?" It's like, come on, dude. Like, it's the kids and Jason's casual family were fully entertained. So there's your barometer to see if something worked or not. Not the dirt sheets, not the wrestling journalists that take this and interview people on a regular basis. Not all these Bleacher Reports putting out ratings, and I'll get into that bullshit that they did, that they should never be allowed to rate another match in their entire life. Like, none of that. It's for kids and casual fans who get entertained by it, and then they end up getting hooked, and then they turn into fans that, again, like us, become lifelong.
Become cynical. And become bitter. But my 1A is I got to go Seth and Roman. They just make it feel like a main event properly placed on the card.
That did not get 5 stars, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I figured it wouldn't. But
Meltzer gave it 4 3/4 stars.
It's a Roman match. They did everything they needed to do, told the story they needed to tell. It was great for me. I just sat back and enjoyed it.
I was shocked by how many Dean Ambrose references we got.
Yeah.
And I know they own the Dean Ambrose character name in that, right? So again, we all know who Dean Ambrose was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but them saying Dean Ambrose, it's like, that's a little crazy to put all the references. And then the shield bump at the end with the mask between them, and Roman saying, "We miss you, John," and him doing that. It's like, this is not me saying that Moxley's leaving and coming back, but just the fact that all that went on, it's a little crazy in 2026.
Trying to entice, when your contract is up, there's a
contract up until 27.
He was like, "There's a little light up here, Not all things is bad. You can forget.
Moxley is one individual I will say never on. I don't think he will ever go back.
No,
even with Hunter being there, I don't.
Not with the way he likes to wrestle and fight and all that stuff.
But not only that, he Daniel Garcia talked this week. I forget what the interview was, but he said Moxley took over, and not in a negative way, but he 2 years ago took everything over as far as locker room leadership, getting everybody to buy in, so like when we talk about this run of AEW and recently, even going back 2 years from a match perspective, right? The booking and the storytelling is what it is. But having the bangers after bangers after bangers that they do put on, whether it is on TV or on pay-per-view, and the attitude change and the buy-in and getting the feel of AEW back to being AEW when it first started, that so many people gravitated towards, Garcia put that solely on Moxley, not the Bucks, not Kenny. Like, Moxley's the guy back there, and I just feel like he's at peace with what he's doing and loves every single bit of it. So I don't see him jumping ship at any time. He's not that type of guy. And I know they say never in pro wrestling, but I think I'm pretty safe to say that's a never.
My 1B for Mount Rushmore, stare down between Oba and Braun Breaker. Finally, we're starting to turn the page on the young stars taking over. And as you can see with KO, Randy, Punk, Cody, SmackDown is looking like the old man's. the old man show compared to Raw that really just has Roman and Seth. So the stare down, I'm all for it, and especially how Braun was playing it up during this whole match, just kept looking up the ramp the whole time. Joe Hendry, who are you? I'm focused on that man right there.
I thought everything they did from a storyline perspective on Monday with that was tremendous. Oba and Heyman, Oba talking to Heyman, thanking him, telling him to thank Brock, like Paul showing respect and everything else, and then Braun coming back asking Paul, "You know where Oba is?" And Paul looking at him like, "Why would I know where Oba is?" Braun's like, "Isn't he your new best friend?" And Heyman's reaction, like, "Oh, okay." So this adds in now, sprinkle in a little bit of what does Paul do? Is he going to get behind Braun again? Are we going to see the Braun breaker that we should have gotten with the Heyman run that was going to be what developed from the vision their initial vision for the vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we getting back on track? I will say, even though you have older individuals on SmackDown as far as it being, Punk, Cody, Randy, Sammy, KO, I got the tagline Texas is back because to me, SmackDown is back. And I'm talking about SmackDown 6 back. Last night had me hooked from start to finish with everything they did. It was the best show of the week. You've seen new stars come in with Tatum. I thought that was a tremendous touch with Alexa and Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect way to debut her. Now you still have Trick. Mello's now back involved with Corbin. Like, you have depth. JC Jane, Fatal Influence with Chelsea and Tiffy, and now Nia Jax and Lash. Like, you have plenty of roster depth there and movement centered around tag teams that can be tag teams, right? And actually do something. But you also have the ability to have individual feuds coming off of this. And if we're going to get evil Tiffy, her turning on Chelsea is a way to do it because she's getting cheered with Chelsea right now. So if you want to make Tiffy be booed and turn her and actually do something, that's a program we can go into, right? You can have JC take the belt off Chelsea to get even more heat on Fatal Influence. So there's a ton that's going on right now. I thought Damian Priest had a great promo last night. Just everything hit. And I haven't seen that much star power on SmackDown in a very long time.
And my main Mount Rushmore, we hit on it earlier, which is Chelsea just went into the women's title, the interim women's title. For somebody who clawed her way up through the company, through everything she's been through, and then finally getting her chance at it, especially in a ladder match where she could stand on top of the ladder and hold the belt up, was a great moment. And I enjoyed it. And then I definitely enjoyed the shot at Michael Hayes that she did at the press conference too.
At the post show, dedicating the title to Michael Hayes and everybody on stage popping for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw videos through the timeline afterwards, like Charlotte and Tiffy and the women standing around the ring, doing her pose and all that as she, like, you can just tell how much she's beloved by all of her peers and them being genuinely happy for her for this moment. I didn't like the fact that she ate a pin last night, but that's to be said in that regards.
And then that leads to my mush.
Before we jump into that, one other thing that was on a Mount Rushmore this week for me, LA Knight. So I don't see him taking the belt off Roman. But everything about that was absolutely tremendous. Doing the Shield and spelling out "you suck" was great. Him interacting with Jacob and Jay and Jimmy in the back on his way out the arena was tremendous.
That was great.
Like,
With that.
I love everything with that. And again, it goes like I know Triple H said, "Are they more over than Cody? Are they more over than Punk? Are they more over than Roman?" And people lambasted him for that because it's like, yes, LA Knight has been that way for 3 years, and you haven't pushed the guy. Now we're getting a little push. I don't know. It's not going to turn into him beating Roman. He'll get screwed probably by Zilla Fatu to carry that on because Zilla wrapped up with House of Glory, so he's definitely coming. But I just like the fact that you're getting him put into that spot, and that's who I think Roman will wrestle at Money in the Bank for the title.
And then that goes to, and then we're entering our mushes, and that rolls into my mush with Chelsea eating the pin yesterday just to be a stepping stone for JC to fight Tiff for the US title. It was like, oh, why? I never seen a champ, world champ, just eat a pin the first match after becoming champ.
I know,
unless you're Kane against Stone Cold.
I know it like fits into Chelsea's character, right? But no, she's champ now. We got to make that pivot in the presentation. She shouldn't be eating the pin in that regards. I would have much rather had it been a DQ in that regards, and DQ it so JC still gets the shot because Nia and Lash interfere on Chelsea and Tiffany's behalf. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you could have got there without having Chelsea take the pin.
Yeah.
And that's why putting the belt on Chelsea is my mush. Should have never happened because you knew how I was going to go. I don't want to see the hokey champ. The one lucky punch champ. What's this guy's
deal today, Donald? What is this deal? He's the only person I know. The only person I know that has a problem with Chelsea winning the title.
Because you know how it's going to play out.
But we don't.
We don't know now since Rita's hurt.
But then you're going to get the lucky punch, champ. How many times you going to run that? You got to build her up to something stronger than just the hokey champ. I love Chelsea, but
I agree with that. Like I said, I don't like her eating
Charlotte.
I don't like. Yeah, he just wants Charlotte to take the belt. Or JC take the belt, like cream and milk over there, hating on more milk. He's hating on milk. It's because it's not blonde milk. That's why. That's why. It's brunette. It's chocolate milk. And he don't like chocolate milk. He likes blonde milk. But I like. Again, I came out of this week very happy with where they're going and kind of seeing where chips are lining up and falling into place. You had Stephanie Vaquer come back. That whole segment on Monday with Becky. And what is going on with Netflix? But they've edited out all the blood. They edited out the line Becky said about "you're not even the best champ to sleep with Dom." They've been more PG than Hulu, and it's Netflix. So what are we doing where you're taking stuff out? They took out Oba and Brock shooting each other the middle finger from SmackDown inside the cell.
What are we regional? Because I don't go back and watch.
The next day people are posting up what Netflix is taking out when you go back to watch the replays. So we were supposed to get away from PG being on Netflix. Not that we had to go full bore Attitude Era, but we see with the language it's more that way. But if you're not watching it live, you're getting the edited radio version of WWE. Yeah. You're not getting the CD version with the explicit on it. You're getting the radio version.
Yeah, because I didn't know Royce Keys was bleeding because I always watch it, Tuesday because I'm asleep. And I was like, oh, he was bleeding? I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're taking away stuff, but there's a lot going on and people are back. You're starting to see a full complement of talent that's on the card, top to bottom. Now, the age-old question: what can creative do with it? Because you have players and pieces across the board, both on men's and women's side.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with it? So we'll see. But now we can talk about the bad because, yeah. So I don't know if you want to continue with yours, Donald, because of Chelsea. If you want to add anything else to that, but
No, that was it. Jason, that was yours.
That was just mine. Yep.
That was yours.
yeah, I mean look, when you talk about, and this is a conversation that I've seen a lot just in sports in general over the last couple of weeks, right? Like, you're always going to think what you grew up on was the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? Like, it happens across sports. It happens across eras, and was the attitude the greatest thing since sliced bread and everything else? Like DJ said, a lot of the wrestling was trash. And a lot of it was just throwing everything at the wall. And it was great because of the stars that you had. So you were caught up in that glass breaking, or if you smell, or you know what I mean? Like, but there was a lot of bad stuff that they did as well. So,
because that was during our teenage years. I was caught up in the gimmicks. I was caught up in like all the drama and everything. I didn't even realize the wrestling was that bad. I was just in the story.
Yeah,
and I don't even think it was that bad. It was just that you weren't exposed to more wrestling.
Right. I mean, you had WCW, you had WWE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They each did different things. WCW was more of the wrestlers wrestling that we see in AEW now, with the cruiserweights and all that, right? The NWO was the main storyline that drove things. WWE was still WWE doing what they've done their entire existence. But watching it without social media coming into play definitely helps our vision of what the Attitude Era was.
Also, you weren't watching as a critic. You were watching to enjoy it.
As a fan.
Yeah, you were watching as a fan.
And that's what I tried to do on Wednesday night with Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I'm a big proponent of storytelling in my pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Give me the story that delivers the payoff match and have that be the match that over delivers on a fantastic story. And even at that point, if you have a weak story, but then the payoff match happens, I can still appreciate it for what it was because the match over delivered given the weak story that you told. AEW is it's hard pressed to find legitimate stories. And I wish I would have bookmarked it, but they made a post about how AEW doesn't have stories and how that's the worst take. And then they listed off like 8 things. And literally all they listed off were just people being put into matches. I'm like, you're not telling me a story. You're just telling me, like, they said Hangman winning the trios titles is a story. It's like, what's the story? It was just in a match and won the title. What's the story? Willow and Mercedes wrestling it all in. What's the story? They haven't told anything.
You just have wrestling history.
You're just basing stories off of wrestling history. Like it's not what a story is. So like that's why for me, Dynamite, like, and I didn't finish all of Dynamite. I 10 o'clock, I was out. I'm like, I can't do this overrun. And then next day I saw it went to 10:52. So damn near 3 hour card.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like, and I'm sorry, for as great as Speedball and Kyle Fletcher were, you're hoeing out the moves. You're absolutely hoeing out the moves. And it's beyond the Oh my God, what a false kick out. No. Come on now. Like,
Is everybody on the trilogy match right now?
I don't
At some point,
You gotta wrap that.
yeah, at some point, it's like we're doing this too much.
and also for AEW blasting WWE for just having the same 4 or 5 people in the title picture. Newsflash, that's all AEW's been its entire existence. Outside of Darby Allin winning in his run, you've had the same 3, 4 people. Go look at who's held the title. It's been the same people. Go look at who's been in the main event picture and the main event matches. It's been the same people.
Men's and tag.
So yeah. But my mush, I'll go, Jake. My mush was Tony D, Grayson Waller, and Cruz Montana.
Oh, that was bad.
You want to talk about absolutely destroying the heat and the buzz and the vibes of what Grayson Waller did 1 week ago. That segment on Tuesday night absolutely torpedoed everybody in it. It was way too long. It was not good. Grayson looked horrible on the mic for as good as he is. Cruz being called out for doing the same promo and still continuing to do the same promo during the segment was bad. And Tony D just is absolute ass in every aspect of a character right now. And for all that to go on for what felt like 45 minutes, for it to end with Tony D saying, all right, number 1 contender match, Waller versus Montana, I'll see the winner, and do a mic drop and walk off. Kiss my ass.
So he's the GM now? You making matches?
And it's going to ultimately lead to a triple threat.
Like it always does.
It was not, that was absolutely terrible.
They need to take that balcony off. I'm so sick of people going through it, the bottom, and standing on top of it, cutting a promo or doing a stare down. Something's got to change with that.
I mean, it was silent in the PC. That crowd is never silent,
And that's hard to do.
There was no you went multiple times in that back and forth between Tony and Waller, and then whenever Cruz came out, like multiple times where it was just dead silence, and that's not good. No. You need it doesn't matter if you're cheering or booing, but you need a reaction. And for it to be dead silent, what a tank job that was. It bombed everything Waller did the previous week. Still, nobody else in the men's locker room has stepped up and taken him out for what he said last week. Nobody. Nothing. And it did nothing for Cruz as far as your second time being on screen or your third time being on screen after your debut. So all the hype and excitement I had
For it, gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah. Just Waller just need to go back to the New Day. Oh yeah, that is right.
A new experience.
One more mush from my side. Vanity Project losing. That's blasphemous. I never want to see that on my eyes again.
And again, why are we having double champs? True. And then Miles Bourne has the nerve to say, hey, Grayson, does this look complacent to you? I got 2 belts. You got none. That's where you're going with it?
I'm enjoying the tag division right now. But, yeah.
No.
And then what are you doing with Carver? What are you doing with Carver? What was that? He's showing restraint and he wins with a roll-up? What are we doing?
Showing character depth.
Butching his character already. Even if he had none, it's still just going somewhere. wasn't he calling out everybody too, like a couple months ago?
DJ, I'm not gonna make HBK beat Bill Belichick without Brady. Like, he's lost so much talent. It's hard pressed to have people step up immediately. On the women's side, he hasn't missed.
Oh,
He hasn't
with
missed.
the women. That's all
But
we need to focus on.
Everything else that's going on, and I don't know if he's, if he's handing off creative duties to the men for somebody else to do, but boy, it has not been good.
Let me the ladies tell my rehash my storyline.
Yeah, that's it. Ladies gonna do my history. I got AI doing the men's. All right, those are our Mount Rushmores and our mushes for the week. Please hit the show up and tell us your mush and Mount Rushmores.
Do you want any quick hitters before we get into the game? Since it'll be a little bit long here with this breakdown. Let's
do quick hits.
All right. Conrad Thompson this week was the pot stir of all pot stirs.
The troll.
Him with Bischoff, he said Roman Reigns is the most overrated main eventer in the history of wrestling. And that led into a whole bunch of just stuff this week. He then doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down, backed it up. And he said, look, you have 11 main events at WrestleMania, 5 more than Cena, 3 more than Hogan. Go look and compare them pre and post Heyman and holler back at me. Maybe watch the Raw after 33 where they booed him for 7 straight minutes. Heyman made us all forget how bad Roman Reigns actually is.
It wasn't how bad he is. It was just that he was being shoved down our throats.
And to Conrad's point, he's like, Roman can be good to great. He's not knocking Roman being great. He said Roman and Seth had his favorite match of the weekend.
We don't do rock slander around here.
His saying was like, if Roman went away, WWE is not going to falter and fold at all. And Roman didn't carry things like a Hogan did, like an Austin did, like a Cena did. And Roman doesn't have, from a babyface standpoint, the fanatical fans that Punk and Cody have. And that without Heyman, we would still have the same Roman that we had before. Where, again, you shoved him down our throats. Nobody liked him. He was Southern Succotashin's son in the promos. And my only counter argument to anything that Conrad said, and it can be debated, because with 11 WrestleMania main events, you can still make the argument that he is being shoved down our throats. Everything that was pre-Heyman was not Roman being Roman. And what do we know about pro wrestling? The best pro wrestling characters are the individuals who are themselves turned up to 10. Yeah. This is Roman being Roman, who Roman is. And that's why it's clicked since he became the tribal chief. Now, do you want to give all the credit to Paul? Paul's a huge part of it. And I'm not going to discredit what Heyman does. Because creatively, Heyman has been in the fold and running that piece to the puzzle since day one. Just like The Rock had Gewurz doing everything for him. So are you going to give the credit all to Brian Gewurz for The Rock? Are you going to say The Rock was overrated because it was all Gewurz who did all the writing and everything else for The Rock? to where The Rock took him from WWE and brought him with him. He's still The Rock's guy to this day. Came back and was responsible for the final boss. So are you going to take all that credit away from The Rock? I just don't know, saying he's the most overrated of all time. It's a little hard pressed.
Mm-hmm.
Big Papa Pump's son, Brock Ricksteiner, is suspended the first 6 games by the NFL. Don't know what he got suspended for. My instance, it would be some sort of PEDs to get a 6 game. But as a rookie, getting suspended for 6 games probably means you're not going to make the team. He hasn't been cut yet.
That's not a good look.
But and my venture is, if he were to get cut, he'd immediately be at the PC and NXT.
NFL policy, I did read up on this earlier. They said if a rookie gets suspended for 6 games, it must have been for a cover-up or like taking something chemically to cover it up. Because normally it's not that much for a rookie to get popped with that. Yeah, so he did and he covered it up.
And then my last 2 quick hitters. First, AEW based. Tony Khan confirmed going forward. AEW plans to hold 2 tournaments for the Continental Championship every year. The Continental Cup will be in the summertime. The Continental Classic will be in the wintertime. And then they released the list of names in the Continental Cup tournament. So John Moxley, who's the champion, is actually in the tournament. Nigel McGuinness, Jay White, Brian Cage, Kyle O'Reilly, Shibata, Matt Sydal, Hechicero, Roderick Strong, David Finley, Jungle Jack Perry, Claudio, Orange Cassidy, Ace Austin, Jake Doyle, and look at who the last name is.
Briscoe.
Darby Allin.
Eddie Kingston? I thought he was injured.
No, he's just been in ROH, which nobody watches. Teaming up with what's his face? LAX. Ortiz. And then lastly, we had the announcement by AAA Rey Mysterio. There will be a tournament being held across AAA, SmackDown, and Raw, with the winner facing Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight title on the Raw in Mexico City on September 14th. If they book this tournament for El Grande Americano to face Roman Reigns, I'm going to hate everything about it.
I have a list. I'm not sure if it's correct.
Of participants in the tournament?
Yeah. La Lucha Night.
It has Penta versus Laredo Kid, Psycho Clown versus La Parca, Dragon Lee versus Del Wagner Jr., and Ray Phoenix versus Al Fiscal.
You have to have an actual AAA luchador win this tournament to face Roman Reigns if the goal is to put more spotlight on AAA.
And
you can't have Penta, you can't have Phoenix.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee.
You can't have Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
No, you said Mr. Guana at all?
No iguana.
Shock.
He's a luchador.
Speaking of Phoenix, I did watch last Saturday night AAA show after SummerSlam night 1, and Phoenix and Mini Vikingo was also up there for my Mount Rushmore this week. They had a tremendous match. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. Phoenix is on a tear right now. Mini Vikingo is just absolutely unbelievable what he does in the ring, and I think he's only like 18. So it's crazy. He looks like he's 120 pounds soaking wet, though. So, but yeah. So those were your quick hits this week in pro wrestling.
All right. And let's get into this game. So I sent over homework over the week and told the guys to, dang, it didn't come up. There it goes. Create your own PLE WWE PLE calendar. So do the whole year with your pay-per-views, and I said that you had to use the big four: Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, and you can add and take how many pay-per-views you want to. That's your PLE calendar.
With
But
the
you couldn't, but you couldn't use any like WCW or any like ECW type thing. So, like for example, I gave a Great American Bash was a WCW event. You couldn't use that.
so
Or
we can't use War Games with
can't use
Survivor
War
Series.
Game. Yep, you can't use War Games for Survivor Series because that was an NWA event.
So we're
Everything
going
has
back
to be
to traditional
WWE.
5-on-5, baby.
So that's what you do. All right. You want me to go first? So you guys still thinking?
Yeah.
He said,
I told you I've been down at the hospital the last
yeah.
2 days straight, so I haven't had time to really vet this out the way that I should have
Mhm.
coming in.
But all right, so I'll do mine. I'm gonna leave Rumble the second week of January, and February and March will be all built to Mania. I'm gonna move Mania back up into the end of March, just like it traditionally was. Then after that, April and the first half of May is going to be all built to Money in the Bank. I'm having Money in the Bank in May, and the last part of May and June will be all built to my first major change, SummerSlam. I'm putting SummerSlam in the first week of July, and I want it to happen July 5th. WWE and all that talks about that they are entertainment. We're entertainment. We go up against everybody. Well, put your money where your mouth is. I want to see the entertainment that you could do after a major holiday while everybody's on vacation, and there are many, many different choices out there to do stuff. Let's see. SummerSlam, first week of July, preferably July 5th. So then that will lead to building the rest of July, the rest of August into September, which I will have Night of Champions. Night of Champions will be every single belt on the line. No ifs, ands, and buts about that. That will leave the middle of September, all of October to build towards Survivor Series, which will be all traditional Survivor Series matches. Give everybody a break for tags and all that stuff at the end of the year into the holidays. That will run all the way until next year when everybody builds back up for Rumble. So I used all big fours and I only put two more pay-per-views, Money in the Bank and Night of Champions. That's it. I wanted to be back how when we grew up on wrestling, where there's more story focus, more build. So I only did a month and a half to 2 months of building to that time. So if you want your gimmick matches and that stuff, you're like Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell could be a match within that pay-per-view. It's not going to be Hell in a Cell pay-per-view or, ladder and that stuff, So it's just going to be like that. And if you want title changes, you can have title changes on Raw or that stuff. If you want to have that, there's not going to be every single pay-per-view a month where title changes just happen on pay-per-views. That's how I run it.
If you come out of Rumble going into Mania with no pay-per-view, how do you determine who gets the other shots at the belts?
That will be on.
You just building that up through TV?
Yep. Building that up through TV. Yep. It's not going to be that elimination chamber to decide that. Taking that factor away. I just want Rumble to be the only number one contender for the only main event spot at Mania.
It's not a bad layout and format. Moving SummerSlam up is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But you're giving a lot of build in between pay-per-views, which I think that's why I think, like I said, 6 is the right number.
Mm-hmm.
To really space it out and give 2.5 months between builds for the pay-per-views themselves, to let things breathe and really establish storylines, etc. So I'm definitely not doing one a month, that's for sure, in that regards there. Like, that's not happening. So main four for me are going to stay where they're at in that regards. My only difference is I'll move SummerSlam to the end of July. Like you have it at the beginning of July. I'll put it at the end of July. You know, beginning of August, where it was this year, I feel is a right spot for it. Rumble again, end of January, beginning of February. Mania, end of March, beginning of April. Not the end of April. It's just too far in between. Rumble winners again. Winner goes to Mania. Having that there. Much like you, I'm not going to have something to determine the other championship matches from an elimination chamber standpoint. However, I'm going to replace Money in the Bank with Elimination Chamber to get a shot at the SummerSlam title.
Okay.
I feel Money in the Bank, the concept with the cash in and everything, to me, it's ran its course. It's very hard to pull off surprise cash-ins, and sometimes it's a detriment to the people that hold the briefcase. Occasionally, you still get shock and awe, but we all know, minus out of all the Money in the Bank winners, right? It's probably percentage-wise, it's like 2% that don't cash in and win the title.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost
So like a guarantee.
guaranteed win,
Mm-hmm.
which can be used as a crutch to get away from truly building somebody up to get them a title. So I'd much rather have Elimination Chamber, around middle of May, and have those winners go to SummerSlam for the title shot. So I'm taking away that step from King of the Ring and not doing King of the Ring, right? So that's what's there. Survivor Series for me is I'm going to change Survivor Series to 5-on-5 for the women's and the men's matches. The survivors from those teams will face off at the end to determine a true number one sole survivor.
Old school.
And old school, with the caveat being whoever is the sole survivor from the men's side and the sole survivor from the women's side gets a title match at Rumble. So that's how you determine who faces the champs at Rumble. Because the belts are defended. That way you've earned it. You've battled. You're the sole survivor. You're still adding stakes to Survivor Series. It's not just the 5-on-5 matches in that regard. So, we're going there. And if you have more than one person that, on a surviving men's team, because it's heels versus baby faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can do your matches to determine who actually wins. So there's stories that you can break off of that in that regards. The only other thing that I've struggled with is what my 6th pay-per-view is going to be and where to actually put it at. I don't necessarily need it to be a serious pay-per-view, but I want something that makes sense and does build up something. So I'm going to keep King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. I'm going to make that in between Survivor Series and SummerSlam. But the King and Queen of the Ring, they get shots at the IC titles for the men and women. So let's establish those belts as meaningful and really elevate those in that regards there. So you can challenge for the IC title, both on the men's and the women's side, or the US title, men's or women's. We'll make it that mid-card tournament title. Yeah.
I like that step there. Yeah. You give those belts some shine, like, hey, this is for this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're battling to establish that in that regard. So those are the changes that I would make. Keep the 6 in that regards. I'd still run specials as part of build, so you can still do your Saturday night's main event because it's not a PLE. It's just on the road too, right? And then you can sprinkle in some of the other stuff from different pay-per-views that were gimmick matches that build up like your Hell in a Cells, like you said, Donald, in that regards there. But those are the 6. Just me not really truly vetting it out per se, but yeah, I would change the way 2 of those are handled as far as 3, right? Elimination Chamber, you get the shot at SummerSlam. King and Queen of the Ring, I'm changing that from a main title to the IC or the US for both men and women, and then Survivor Series will be your steps to get your championship matches at Rumble.
Yeah, nice. Jason.
All right, I went 12, and everything's happened in the last weekend of the month. Don't care what the holiday is. It's happening the last weekend. So. The only thing that threw it off is I hate the placement between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. SummerSlam being a name, it has to be in summer. I want it to be like 6 months apart from each other. Like half the year. But you can't. There's no way you can work it out with SummerSlam, and you want WrestleMania to be universal warm weather type event. So they'll be trying to stay where they are, but I'll move them back a couple of days. So we're starting in June with Money in the Bank. Kick it off. One of those matches. July, King of the Ring. Money in the Bank is June, so you have that full year to cash in the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. You have that option. King of the Ring, July, goes into SummerSlam. SummerSlam is late August, still summer. It just caps off summer. September will go No Mercy. October, Night of Champions. November, Survivor Series, Brand Wars, all brand versus brand. December, In Your House, just because it's cold.
In Your House.
January, I picked Capital Carnage, but that didn't feel right. Then I put Invasion. That still doesn't feel right. But January's going to be Invasion. That's going to come off the heels of
In Your House.
In Your House.
NXT's Deadline. So you'll get probably some call-ups there. You'll get like AAA Invade. You'll get cross-brand promotions like Worlds Collide. Something like that, yeah. February, Royal Rumble. March, Elimination Chamber. April, Bad Blood for no reason. Could have just kept that off and just built, but I'll just throw in Bad Blood for no reason. And then
Mania in May.
Yeah, Mania in May. And then I'm adding in main events on Royal Rumble weekend and Money in the Bank weekend for like your tag belts, your IC belts, just because those events are taken up by two long
matches.
Yeah. So if you're not on the card for Mania or not for Mania, Royal Rumble and thing, you're on a main event card. Because Night of Champions, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania, all belts on the line.
Are you keeping 2 nights for
two nights for Mania, 2 nights for SummerSlam?
See, I think in SummerSlam this year proved it. I think the only pay-per-view that you need 2 nights for, the only PLE that you need 2 nights for is Royal Rumble. Because of the match that
Royal Rumble.
Because of the match.
Because of how long the match is. You do men's or women's night 1 or night 2, and you end that's your only PLE that's 2 nights. I think if you go back to 1 night PLEs and you make that match card 7 to 9 matches, like SummerSlam didn't have the SummerSlam vibes because it was broken up over 2 nights. If you would have compressed that from a 12 match card to a 9 match card on 1 night, I think the vibe and the feel and the discussion about that is way different.
I feel like 9 is too long. Was SummerSlam 2 nights last year?
Yes, that last year was the first year they did 2 nights.
Okay, this year I felt they did a good job, but just like every match for me delivered. Didn't feel like there was too much. It didn't feel WrestleMania-ish where like you ad breaks and all that stuff. It felt like an easy wash for me for 2 nights. That's the only reason I was,
No, because they added all the mascots in after the match. Like the mug
Oh,
root beer.
mush. Oh yeah, mush, mug beer. Yeah,
That was a mush. That was a mush contender
Oh
too,
man, that
Mush,
was
yeah.
awful.
All right, DJ got here day one, January. So January 1st, we're having a draft. Then we're doing Rumble. February, No Way Out. March, Saturday Night's Main Event. April,
Mania.
Mania.
Mania, yeah.
May, Vengeance.
Vengeance.
June, Saturday's Main Event. July, Evolution. Threw in a women's pay-per-view there. Nice. Didn't even think about doing that. Again, didn't have time to vent. August, SummerSlam. September, Tribute to the Troops. October, Money in the Bank. November, Survivor of the Fittest. So he's changing Survivor Series to Survivor of the Fittest.
And he said December he'll have off, and it'll just be best episodes ran.
Now, Survival of the Fittest was not a WWE PLE that has ever taken place. So that's an asterisk there. DJ didn't follow the full rules of the game, but we will let that slide because he did put a PLE calendar together. He created a brand new pay-per-view.
He already did this at 2K at home.
Yeah, he got his creative character running through the series now. Just got drafted up to Raw, and he's getting ready for Rumble.
Not bad, but yeah. So there you go. Those are our WWE PLE / pay-per-view calendars. If we had control. All right, we went through quick hitters and that's it. All right, so thank you for watching and listening to episode of 303 of the Dumb Marks podcast. The Pass, the KO, the Ruler.
Hold on, before you continue with the past gimmick, any thoughts on Brock Lesnar actually being retired?
They can say all they want to and that stuff, but we discussed it last week. He'll show up at Mania.
I mean, I know we said that, but Brock is a different type of cat. And hearing Brock say what he said this week and going on McAfee's show and them running the video packages on Raw and SmackDown for the career, like, again, never say never. But to me, Brock's the kind of guy like Cena. If he says he's done, he's done. And Brock has never before this actually said, I'm done. Right? Like, he said, I'm done. I'm 49, going to be 50. Like, my sons have hockey. My daughter's training for the Olympics. Like, I got hunting to do. I don't see Brock, especially with him really passing the torch in a moment that it's rare to see a torch actually get passed that way. And then the person say, I'm the past is the future, like live real time. It's hard, regardless of how much money may get thrown at him for Saudi Mania. I just don't see him doing that one off, given everything that went around this run with Oba. Like, I feel he's so happy with it being Oba.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, we say it all the time. If Brock likes you, he'll do.
He got away.
And I mean, he went over and above what I think Brock would ever do for somebody. We're going to have a real discussion about Brock being on a Mount Rushmore. Separating the person and the accusation, like separating the person from the art, right?
Yeah.
We're just going to be
That's
looking
how
at
you
the
always
art.
do. That's how you always do. That's how you always should do stuff.
A big man Mount Rushmore?
No, overall Mount Rushmore, because
he's not touching my.
And I say that because of everything that's come from people in the business are saying that. So,
but Hogan's still on your Mount Rushmore.
Oh, you're Mount Rushmore?
He's on everybody's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So check us out on all of our social medias and at Dumbmarks, dumbmarks.com website, Spotify. Always give us a like, listen, follow. All of our links, Pro Wrestling Tees, WWE, and Surfshark. And to leave with the quote of the week, it comes from Dr. Doom in the comics. I was a god, and I found it to be beneath me. And with that, see you next week at 11 a.m. And always, Konnichiwa, Sai Kamatami, and I forget her name, Kairi Sane.
Hit the outro.
Delay. I'm on the delay.